What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's Nando. I appreciate you guys stopping by to watch this video. And in front of me I've got the 4 probably most popular Android phones or phones period out right now currently. We've got a couple more phones coming out, but these phones right here are possibly the most popular phones out, and they're probably going to be the most popular phones out for quite some time. I'm going to start off from left to right, naming out the phones, letting you know what we have here in front of us here today that I will be comparing and discussing. I've got the Galaxy S8 unlocked version, if that makes any difference. I've got the OnePlus 5, you know, those always come unlocked. I've got the HTC U11, and I've got the LG G6. Now, all of these phones have some sort of case on it, so if they're looking a little thick and whatnot or a little different, I have cases on it. I like to put cases on all my devices, and I'm going to keep the cases on these phones throughout the video. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. These are the type of videos that I like to make. I've reviewed pretty much every single one of these phones. I haven't reviewed the Galaxy S8 individually because I've done the S8 Plus. I might do the S8, I don't know. I'm using this one right now. This is the most recent one I've gotten. The HTC U11 was the first out of all of these, followed by the OnePlus 5, the LG G6. I'm sorry, let me start over. HTC U11, LG G6, OnePlus 5, and then Galaxy S8. I love every single one of these phones for specific reasons. I dislike some things about these phones for some specific reasons. I'm going to say up front that I'm sorry if I ramble, I'm sorry if I bounce around, because I've done a showdown before between 3 phones. That video, I think, was the Huawei Mate 9, the Google Pixel, and maybe the OnePlus 3T. I'm not positive. It's been a while. Rarely do I have these many phones at the same time, but in this case I have, and before I start getting rid of them, I wanted to at least bring this video to you guys. So, I know I'm over 2 minutes in. I have yet to discuss the phones, and I'm sorry about that, but I just wanted you guys to have an idea of what I'm going to do here in this video. I'm going to talk about how they kind of compare with each other. I'm going to talk about which phone I think is the best for what kind of user. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the hardware, a little bit about the software. Not a lot about camera, because there's people out there that do a fantastic job of comparing cameras, especially those who take a bunch of videos and pictures together with multiple devices. You guys know which YouTubers I'm just talking about in that regards. But this is going to be from an average consumer, an average Joe. And hopefully you guys enjoy it, and throughout the video, if you like something, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have something to say, let me know in the comments section below. So, enough rambling, 3 minutes in, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about hardware first, because obviously that's what we see here in front of us. Hardware-wise, the phone to me that obviously stands out the most, and I think most of you guys are going to agree, is going to be with the Galaxy S8. I think that the Galaxy S8 does a fantastic and phenomenal job of incorporating modern desires, modern wishes. By that I mean, reduced bezels, pushing boundaries with edged displays and screens and things like that. The Galaxy S8 line is just a very gorgeous phone. I have yet to honestly encounter someone who has said, that's an ugly phone. I don't like the way that phone looks. Now, I have encountered people who've discussed that, you know what, it looks good, but it's not very functional, slips a lot, it looks good, but honestly that edge doesn't bring a lot to the table. That's another story, that's in the story of gimmicks and things that makers bring to the table, some like, some don't like. But in terms of actual, you look at this phone, you can honestly appreciate the aesthetics of this phone, you can honestly appreciate what Samsung has done, and there's not one moment that I don't really like holding this phone in hand. I enjoy holding it in hand with a case better, because it's not going to slip as much, but in terms of looks, this phone is fantastic. I mean, there's really just a fingernail of bezel on the top and bottom, and that's great. That is something that, kudos to Samsung. With that being said, the LG G6 does a great job of reducing its bezels. I mean, it doesn't have that much bigger of a bezel than the Galaxy S8 line. It's got bezels top and bottom, not that much more. It is a very slim, thin, narrow device. It has fantastic build quality, good material being used. So if you're someone who cares about the build quality of their phone, if you're someone who honestly appreciates the work that goes into deciding what material is used, whether it's glass, whether it's aluminum, whether it's plastic, and you appreciate and understand what they chose to use, that I think that the Galaxy S8 and the LG G6 are gonna be your two best bets. Are gonna be the phones that you're gonna honestly gravitate towards first, if hardware is something that matters to you first and foremost. In the middle here, we have the OnePlus 5 and we have the HTC U11. Now, I hate having to leave the HTC U11 for third here, because a phone like this, I mean, this screen, this case here is pretty banged up and pretty sloppy and dirty. But you guys know what I'm talking about. The HTC U11 has a phenomenal looking phone. I mean, super reflective. Colors pop on this phone. By colors, I mean literally whatever color scheme or color choice, be it that red new one or this kind of like silvery blue one. I mean, it just pops that color. And if you're in direct sunlight, even more so. It's a joy to look at. It's a pain in the rear to clean because of smudges. But, in my opinion, you can't have it both ways. If you want a phone that looks really good, feels really good, usually it's going to also collect a lot of dust, a lot of grime, a lot of scratches, a lot of smudges, and you just got to take care of it. Now, the reason why I don't put this phone up there with the Galaxy S8 line, in this case the S8, the regular size, and the LG G6, is because this phone right here, sorry about that camera there, this phone right here, it just has much bigger bezels. So it's like they focused a lot on what the outside of the phone looks like, and when it comes to the front side of the phone, they just simply said, you know what, it is what it is. These bezels right here are pretty big. The top and the bottom are pretty big, and that to me, is just not acceptable. Just like the OnePlus 5 in my review of it, look at these bezels. I mean, a whole thumb fits across it. And sure, it's nitpicking, maybe. Is it a big deal? Probably not. Is it going to deter and take away from the user experience? No. And some may even argue that it's going to add to the user experience, because if you're watching a video or something, you can just put your phone and your finger right here, and you're not even on the screen. That's something that's going to be an issue with the Galaxy phone, because where are you going to leave your finger? Or you're constantly going to be touching the edges, which in the Galaxy's case offers functionality. So, trade-offs, right? But my opinion, if you're someone who strictly is looking at hardware and whether it looks good or doesn't look good, these two phones right here do that. This phone right here is a close second or third, in my opinion, because this is number one. So second or third, could be second, depending on what exactly you're looking for. The OnePlus just doesn't cut it in terms of hardware. Very boring, very subtle, just kind of out of the way. Now, software. So, oh boy. Software is something that, again, like hardware, people can be very opinionated on, because some people love stock Android. People out there in the Android world talk about how, what Google brings to the table is what it should all be. And I'm not a believer in that. I'm someone that thinks that Android is all about different take, different feel, different, just being different, honestly. And discussing that software is one of those things, just like hardware, people have their opinions on. However, with software, some people like a lot of people like gimmicks, but a lot of people also like plain stock, bare bones, just like Google intended it. Especially when you look at people like iOS users, right? Because they don't have a lot of customability. Now, I, for one, am someone who enjoys the stock Android experience with added functionality. I love that makers bring things to the table, both with hardware and with software. I think that's where you really get to see what a team has to offer, what creative minds put together can come up with. And, that's where you get things like TouchWiz. Love it or hate it. There's a lot of crap with TouchWiz that is useless, does nothing good for the phone, but there's also some things with TouchWiz that you're like, okay, I see what you're doing, Samsung. Like, that's good. There's things like LG, where their, in my opinion, their user interface is so dated, is so bad. Worse than TouchWiz. I think TouchWiz has actually improved over time. I think that LG software has actually gotten worse with time. Then you've got guys like HTC with their Blink feed, which I'm a big fan of. If you haven't watched my final review on HTC, do check that out. I talk about Blink feed on HTC, and I'm a huge fan of this. I just love the fact that it curates all your information to the left, even more so than like Google Now. Google Now is more of, you know, Google helping you out with things that they think you should care about, you know, weather, traffic, you know, maps, things like that, stock, while Blink feed is more news, you know, entertainment based, and I actually appreciate that. I know there's people out there that do as well, and maybe some don't. And then you got the likes of the OnePlus 5, and what OnePlus does is, you know, it's obviously out of all four of these phones, the phone with the most stock Android experience, and in my opinion, the phone that brings the nicest, you know, added features. What OnePlus does with the OnePlus 5, I actually use. I use often, and I don't have issues with it because it stays out of the way, and it literally legit looks like a stock Android phone, like a Google Pixel. You know, out of all of these, look, swipe up, then you gotta tap, and then this one kind of swipes up. So yeah, you can put launchers and this, that, and the other, like I did with this phone, but you shouldn't have to do that. I think that it's telling enough in a negative way that if you automatically have to change the way that phone's interface and software looks and feels right off the bat, that says enough. And that's usually the case with Samsung. That's usually the case with LG, maybe even HTC. So I got to give OnePlus and their cheaper phone, I mean, out of all these four, this is the cheapest, the win there, the win when it comes to software, honestly. I really do. And I would love to know in the comment section below, what do you think, you know, who do you think, I should say, is the phone here with the best software? Let me know also hardware and why, but I think software would be quite interesting because you really get to see people nitpick there. Now, I've talked about hardware already, but I'm going to talk about hardware in terms of screen, you know, display, look, brightness, things like that. All these phones right here have maximum screen brightness all the way up. Sure, I know they're at angles. I know that the lighting in my apartment isn't optimal, but it's pretty clear, I think, for the majority of people watching this video, which phone has the, you know, the brighter display. For me, for the guy who's making this video, sitting behind the camera, the Galaxy S8 and the OnePlus 5 have the two best screens, the two brighter screens. This one right here is interesting because what Samsung has done is they've given people the ability to change their screen quality on the fly. You can actually turn this phone up to like some Quad HD nonsense, or you can bring it down to just some basic like 1080p. So you can choose what's more important to you. Do you really care about the pixels? Do you really care about watching those YouTube videos in as clear of a picture as possible? Or do you care more about battery life like me, and you bring that sucker down to, you know, in that case, the worst screen quality? So I love what Samsung has done. They've given people the option to change that. I got to give Samsung the win there. I think what OnePlus has done with their screen is really good for a screen that people are like, it's only 1080. Look, guys, I don't even have a 4K computer monitor. I don't even, well, I own an Xbox One that shoots in, you know, plays in 4K. Here I go shooting 4K. Okay, that plays stuff in 4K. Like, who out there really truly, the average consumer doesn't have a 4K monitor and a TV set yet? They just don't. I mean, they will, but they're not there yet. So honestly, I think that 4K on a phone is overkill. I mean, you look at Sony, that they only give you 4K in certain instances. That says a lot right there. So I think that this 1080p panel screen that OnePlus has got going on is phenomenal. I think that the LG G6 screen is very good as well, and I think the worst one here is obviously, to me, and it's in this case not even the brightest one, is the HTC U11. Now that doesn't mean it's a bad screen. I just think that it doesn't pop like these. It doesn't get as bright as these. So, you know, there's got to be a loser here for me, and that's the HTC U11. Now, we've talked about hardware in terms of the actual build quality. We've talked about hardware in terms of screen. We've talked about software and whether people appreciate or you appreciate more gimmicks or versus stock Android. I got to talk a little bit about pricing as well, because obviously that, to most people and to me, is the main deciding factor as to which phone you're going to get. And I'm going to start off by going, you know, obviously the Galaxy S8 is the most expensive phone. I think it retails for like $750. You've got the LG G6 that retails for like $650. The HTC U11 was about $650 as well, $600, $650. And the OnePlus 5 was like $480 or $479 or something like that. That's what they retailed for. I think that the Galaxy S8 still holds the highest retail price. Carrier or unlocked, still around the 600s or whatever. This phone, obviously, you can only buy it unlocked, is going to be the cheapest, kind of, and I'll touch that in a second. This phone right here, you can probably get for about $500 some, and this phone right here has completely plummeted in its price. I don't really know why. I mean, it's the cheapest phone out right now. Out of all four of these phones, the LG G6 is the cheapest one. You can find this guy right here used anywhere from $300, more closer to $350 to $450. And this one right here is probably going to be used now around $450. This is going to probably be around $500, $550. And this is going to be about $500 to $600. So if you're someone buying a phone right now, a used phone, or even a new phone, you know, what do you care about most? If prices is what you care about most, then LG and OnePlus 5 is going to be an easy choice for you because it's the cheapest phone or the cheaper phones. If price matters to an extent versus what you're getting out of the phone, honestly, I think you're going to go for something like the OnePlus 5 or the HTC U11, because those are phones that bring a lot to the table that don't cost as much as these guys right here. The OnePlus 5, the HTC U11, this guy brings the most features out of these two. This one brings, I think, the cleaner, more enjoyable software experience. LG G6 kind of bloats up the phone a lot, but it would be cheaper right now. And then the Galaxy S8, I think Samsung is really going all in with the whole look. It looks great, and you're just going to want it because it's unique and different. My opinion, the phone right now that's worth its price the most is the OnePlus 5. And then I'm going to say it's followed closely by the Galaxy S8, then possibly the HTC U11. I honestly think that the LG G6, just something about it right now, I think that software experience, that software lag, the dated user interface just doesn't cut it for me. Camera-wise, these phones all have really good cameras. This right here, the Galaxy S8 has the best camera in my opinion. The HTC U11 has a very good camera. I think this would be second best. This would be a close second. Third, and this OnePlus 5, the worst camera. Battery life, I'm going to say that the OnePlus 5, again, takes that. It charges the fastest, lasts the longest. The Galaxy S8 lasts pretty decently. All three of these here, the Galaxy S8, the HTC U11, and the LG G6 kind of charge the same speed. So if you're looking at battery life, you're going to go with the OnePlus 5 because it charges fast and lasts longer. If you're going to go for a phone that has the best retail value, you know, after the fact, like when you're selling it again for the next goodie that comes out, you know, yeah, Samsung's probably going to hold the best value. Maybe even the OnePlus 5 because it's still kind of hard to get. And it's compatible with basically all those GSM networks out there. This is the unlocked version, so it works GSM and CDMA. And that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, other than that, the little things like fingerprint scanner, this is on the back, this is the front, this is the front, this is on the back. Fingerprint scanner, in my opinion, the best one. Again, the OnePlus 5. The freaking Samsung S8, I hate where it's positioned. I think that if you're going to do it in the back, it's like the LG G6. So, yeah, sorry to ramble and bounce around there towards the end. I know it's kind of rapid fire, but the battery's about to die on me again, and I'm over reshooting this video over and over again. So, guys, let me know in the comment section below which of these phones is the best phone for you. Have you tried them? Which ones have you tried? Why? Why do you bounce? Why do you switch? Do you stay loyal to one? And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Please thumbs up this video as well if you've enjoyed it. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Like always, guys, stay geeky. Peace and salud.